when avoiding the spikes goes wrong.
Oh my God!
These cops saw maniacs on the road and decided to bring them to a quick stop. From bumper nets to spike trips and even devices that turn your car off remotely, these stopping methods are super fascinating. Get ready for a wild ride as we explore the craziest ways cops stop fast-moving cars. Let's get to it. Number 1. Pursuits of a teen driver. Beginning with the list, we have this relatively famous OnStar technology found in many vehicles. This advanced system provides support during emergencies or crashes. However, it can be used in other ways too. Take the case of Devin Sells, an 18-year-old from California. He reported his mom's car stolen and was speeding down a busy road, posing a serious threat. This incident happened in Arizona, and the police were trying to catch him without causing more danger. Any wrong move could have led to a disaster for Devin and everyone else on the road. That's when OnStar technology came to the rescue. A signal was sent to the car's system, which slowed it down, forcing Devin to stop. The police then surrounded the car and managed to capture him without any harm. Number 2. Stopped dead in tracks. Not all OnStar stops go as planned. Just like in the cases mentioned earlier, OnStar played a key role in ending this chase. However, relying on this tech isn't always smooth sailing. In this video, the suspect's car is brought to a halt by OnStar, but the speed and loss of control lead to a disastrous outcome. The suspect careens onto the wrong side of the road, resulting in a brutal crash. Number 3. Police bumper net. In a wild case of reckless driving on June 10, 2023, in Mesa, Arizona, the Arizona Department of Public Safety troopers and their street racing task force partners had their hands full. They responded to reports of vehicles taking over intersections in the valley, a dangerous stunt known as intersection takeovers. During this chaos, one driver even hit a pedestrian and fled from the scene. With the help of the task force's partners, including the Phoenix, Mesa, and Tempe police departments, the suspect vehicle was located. The police immediately began pursuit. Using a specialized tool called the Grappler Police Bumper, an Arizona Department of Public Safety sergeant made a daring move. He deployed the grappler, which netted the culprit's car's rear wheel, bringing the high-speed chase to a dramatic end. Inside the vehicle were 2 young males, both minors. They were detained and cited for street racing, and their vehicle was impounded. It was a swift and decisive action by law enforcement that stopped this dangerous escapade. Number 4. Sports car getting grappled. Imagine a scenario where a suspect is roaming around in a sports car, causing chaos on the streets. How can the police stop such a fast-moving vehicle without causing harm to others? One method is using a high-tech grapple. In a recent incident, a sports car was spotted driving recklessly. The police had to act fast to stop this dangerous situation. Since the driver showed no signs of slowing down, the cops employed the traditional yet effective method, using a grapple. A police car swiftly approached the rear of the suspect's vehicle and attached the grapple to one of its wheels. This action brought the fast-moving car to a halt, allowing the police to apprehend the suspect safely. Number 5. XNet Vehicle Arrest System. One of the wildest tactics police use to stop a speeding car is the XNet. This devious contraption looks harmless, a mesh that a driver might think they can easily plow through. Little do they know, this net is laced with custom sharp nails that spell disaster for their tires. When deployed, the XNet quickly wraps around the wheels and axles, piercing the tires and bringing the car to a screeching halt within moments. As seen in videos, this net leaves no room for escape, immobilizing the vehicle in a matter of seconds. For any suspect driver, encountering the XNet would be a nightmare scenario. Once caught in its grip, there's no way out. It's game over. Number 6. Nails for the rescue. Another case was reported to the Los Angeles police about a car speedily driven. The police were quick to take action and positioned the nail strips at the exact location they expected the woman to pass by. And all according to their plan, the woman crossed the nail strip and her car tires were shredded. She still drove on the shredded tires for a distance, but ultimately she had to come to a halt and got caught by the police. Number 7. Escaped twice. An intense case occurred for officers when a report came in about a suspected car near Cumberland Mall. The Cobb County Police Department swiftly responded, leading to an arrest on March 13th. The chase initially circled around Cumberland Mall, where officers managed to corner the suspect. However, a small misstep gave the suspect an opening to escape. Undeterred, the suspect fled to Cobb Parkway, with a swarm of police cars hot on their tail. The chase reached a dramatic climax when one officer made a bold move, ramming their cruiser head-on into the suspect's car to disable it. This daring maneuver caused the suspect to lose control. Within moments, the suspect was surrounded by police and promptly arrested. Number 8. Using cars to stop the suspects. Sometimes cops have smart plans to take down burglary suspects at all costs. The craziest tactic in their playbook? The pit maneuver. It's like a vehicular chess move where they slam their car into the side of the suspect's vehicle, sending it spinning out of control and grinding to a halt. This wild scenario played out when 3 burglary suspects were tearing through traffic, trying to give the cops the slip. These guys were pulling every trick in the book: swerve, dodge, overtake, but the cops were hot on their tails, knowing they had to end this dangerous game before innocent bystanders got hurt. Finally, after a heart-pounding chase, one fearless officer took matters into their own hands. They gunned their engine and slammed into the side of the suspect's car, sending it careening into chaos. This move is like a high-stakes dance. While one cop smashes into the suspect, the others surround them, cutting off any escape route. With nowhere left to run, the burglars knew the gig was up. They crawled out of their wrecked car, hands up in surrender, as the cops closed in, ready to slap on the cuffs. Number 9. Spike strips. One common way to stop cars that are causing trouble or are out of control is by using spike strips. These are special strips made with metal spikes that police officers throw onto the road. When a car drives over them, the spikes puncture the tires, making it hard for the car to keep on going. In this video, there was a car being driven by someone suspected of drinking and driving. The police chased the vehicle until one officer threw a spike strip onto the road at just the right moment. When the suspect's car drove over it, the spikes popped the tires and the car slowed down. After using the spike strip, the police must carefully pick it up so their cars don't get damaged. This method requires a lot of responsibility because if it's not done carefully, it could cause problems. Number 10. The perfect grappler to stop the car. According to the police, the whole shebang kicked off around Cave Creek and Deer Valley roads, sparking a pursuit that wound its way through several valley cities before hitting I-10 and Broadway. The cops weren't messing around. They corralled the car with precision. One unit pulled up in front to slow the suspect down, while another unit slid in from behind and swiftly hooked a grappler onto the vehicle, bringing it to a standstill without leaving a scratch on the road. Number 11. Stopping a stolen vehicle. Another way to snag dangerous vehicles is with a police bumper grapple. This bad boy is like a hook, but on steroids, with a beefy rope that can lock up a car's wheels in no time. Take this wild case with the Lenexa police. They got word of a stolen car tearing through town. The cops needed a slick way to stop it without putting people in harm's way. Once they had eyes on the vehicle, they moved in close, and bam! The grapple's hooks latched onto the rear wheels, bringing the car to a screeching halt. The driver didn't stand a chance. He was slapped with charges of felony fleeing, vehicle theft, and packing meth and drugs. Number 12. HT1 Raptor. Another wild tool in the police arsenal for stopping fast-moving vehicles is the HT1 Raptor. This setup can bring a speeding car to a screeching halt in mere seconds. It's not your everyday gadget. It's reserved for serious situations like terrorist threats or stopping out-of-control trucks. Here in this video, a menacing machine emerges from the ground, ready to take down a whole truck with ease. With just the push of a button, law enforcement or security can activate this beast when they spot a fast-moving threat with no intention of stopping. Speed demons beware. Once this setup is triggered, it's game over for anyone trying to evade the law. Number 13. The blue car chase. This case is about another suspect who raced on the highway and the busy roads. Upon the police telling him to stop, the suspect only kept on racing faster, and officers had no option but to use a spike strip to stop the car. Even after the car's tires were pierced with sharp nails, the diver kept driving the car, but eventually the car's rear wheels lost their control, and the car crashed to the side of the road into the grass filled with water. The dispatch observing the incident through the drone let the other police officers know about the suspect's location, and the driver was arrested. Number 14. Crook hook. The crook hook is a brilliant method for cops to stop a suspect without causing any damage to the surrounding area. Here's how it works. Hooks are discreetly installed in the front of the police car. When they need to stop a suspect's car, officers simply press a button and the hooks extend out, latching onto the rear of the suspect's vehicle. Once attached, the suspect's rear wheels are lifted off the ground, rendering the car immobile. No matter how hard they hit the gas, the suspect is going nowhere. It's a clever and effective way to end a pursuit without putting anyone in harm's way. Number 15. Drunk driver caught by spike strip. This is one of the most challenging cases of police catching a suspect on the road. In Estonia, police had to use a spike strip to stop a DUI driver. The suspect was reported to be drunk and was reported to have hit some cops' cars. The drunk suspect was very aggressive towards the police. Still, the spike strips saved the day when the cops, who had predicted that the drunk driver would take a specific route, laid down the spike strips just at the right time when the intoxicated driver drove from there and was successful when the driver had ultimately drive on the spikes and the tires were flattened. The car stopped a few kilometers away from the point of usage and the driver was aggressive toward the police. So the police had to use force and arrest the driver. Well, a lesson learned. Never drive while drunk or you might also end up with flat tires. Number 16. Laying down the strip. In the video, a hotshot driver is gunning it, trying to shake off the cops. But the boys in blue have a trick up their sleeve. Just as the car is about to make a break for it, a savvy officer drops some spike strips like a boss. The car hits the spikes, loses control, and screeches to a dramatic stop on the shoulder. Without that sandy buffer, the car could have flipped, turning the whole scene into a real-life action movie crash. But thanks to the cops' quick thinking, it's game over for the runaway driver. Number 17. Pit maneuver at the intersection. In the clip, Florida Highway Patrol troopers put an end to a high-speed chase on Interstate 95 in Brevard County with a classic pit maneuver. After trailing the suspect for a while, the troopers seized the perfect moment when the road cleared up. With precision timing, one officer nudged the suspect's car from the side, causing it to spin out of control and come to a halt on the roadside. It was a textbook maneuver that brought the chase to a safe conclusion. Number 18. Spike strips again. One of the most brutal ways to stop a reckless driver is with spike strips. These strips puncture the tires, making steering control a nightmare. This instability greatly increases the risk of a crash. In Fredericksburg, Virginia, a reckless driver led police on a dangerous chase. However, an inspector there had a trick up his sleeve. He accurately predicted the suspect's route and deployed a spike strip, also known as a stinger, just in time to burst a tire. Using precise calculations of the car's timing, the officer laid out the strips and brought the car to a halt. He then quickly retracted the strips to avoid damaging the police cars. Number 19. Truck runaway. Not all car stops are due to reckless driving or suspicion. Sometimes it's about preventing a disaster. Imagine a scenario where a truck's brakes fail, hurtling it down the road like a runaway missile. This isn't just a movie plot, it's a real danger. To avert catastrophe, dispatch and officers guide the truck towards a special truck runaway filled with material like sand. As the truck enters, the sand cushions its tires and slows it down. The truck sinks into the sand, gradually coming to a halt. Number 20. Caught in Florida. On Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, the Indian River County Sheriff's Office was contacted by the Jupiter Police Department. It was notified of a stabbing that occurred in their jurisdiction, with the suspect identified as 28-year-old Nicholas, who was last seen fleeing northbound on I-95 at high rates of speed. Deputies immediately responded to the South County line and waited for the vehicle. Real-time Crime Center located the car on LPR cameras positioned in the area and shared live information about its location and direction of travel. Deputies in the area and Hawk helicopter received the real-time information and quickly spotted the vehicle entering the county. The police stopped Parchesco's car using spike strips. The car had passed entirely on the spikes, and the tires gave up their control after some distance. Number 21. The stop stick. Another method police officers use to break the speed limit of a fast-moving car is stop sticks. But using these sticks can be tricky, as they must be laid out perfectly before the suspect's car approaches the location. The video shows that the first suspect car could avoid it and escape from the side road. Tossing stop sticks onto the road looks pretty simple, but trying to stop a moving vehicle during a chase can be deadly. Nearly every day, somewhere in the US, a high-speed chase takes place, often ending in a crash, hurting an innocent bystander. However, these speed sticks can make the vehicle jump and be out of control after it has been hit by them. Hence, perfect precaution is required when using them. Number 22. Driver wanted for grand theft. The police responded to a report of a wanted driver for the grand theft of an automobile. The original driver had mistakenly left the keys inside the car, and the wanted driver drove off with the car. But the police had other plans for this suspect. They used a spike strip to shred the tires of this vehicle and waited for the vehicle to slow down. After some time, the tires were completely flattened, and the vehicle's speed slowed down. The police then surrounded the car and arrested the suspect with ease. Number 23. Slamming the suspect's car. Sometimes the police might knock on your window and ask you politely to step out of your vehicle. But if you're not in the mood for politeness, you could end up like the woman in this clip. The officer calmly approached her, identified her as a suspect, and asked her to step out. But instead of complying, she decided to make a run for it. Her reckless move triggered a massive chase. With multiple police cars hot on her tail, there was no escaping the inevitable. The police boxed her in, slamming their cars into hers until she was forced to a stop and arrested. It was a wild ride that could have been avoided with a little cooperation. Number 24. Catching a robbery suspect. In another case, Sparks, where the police had to catch a fast-moving vehicle and bring the suspect vehicle to a stop on May 24, 2023, Cobb County police officers were alerted by a suspected vehicle with an armed driver on the run with a stolen vehicle. The police officers soon located a stolen vehicle driven by the robbery suspect on I-75 SB. The chase began soon after. The police officers were tailing behind the car and following its every move. They had to be careful of the road, which was filled with traffic. When one of the officers uses his vehicle to ram the suspect's truck, it comes to a stop. Police swarm the area and draw their weapons as the driver tosses his firearm to the ground, but holds a knife to his throat. The police officers had the suspect at the gunpoint and kept telling him to lay on the ground, as you can see in the picture. In the end, the police arrested the suspect, who was later charged with a heavy fine and imprisonment. Number 25. Pit Maneuver, Arkansas. On June 27, 2023, Arkansas State Police Dispatch received a 911 call about a silver passenger car traveling on the southbound shoulder of I-530 at high speed. As the vehicle passed his location, he said he was trying to catch up to it as segment. Jeff Preston drove out of the Troop E headquarters parking lot. He observed a silver car driving over the Exit 36 overpass on the shoulder at a high rate of speed. The police team followed the suspect vehicle and surrounded it on the highway. Using their traditional method, they could pit maneuver the suspect and quickly arrest him. After a physician saw him, he was released due to no minor or major injuries and transported to the Dub Brassel Detention Center, where he was detained in jail for several charges. Number 26. Pit maneuver in Georgia. Another car was reported for fast speed driving, and the vehicle was reported to the Georgia Police Department. The police officers located the vehicle and quickly followed the suspected car. The car chase was intense, as the suspects in the car eventually made a stop, deceiving the officer into thinking they were giving up. But as soon as the police car came to a halt, the suspects drove off at a fast speed. The police cars then surrounded the suspect vehicle. Authorities report that deputies used a pit maneuver technique to stop a car during a high-speed pursuit in Georgia. Dashcam footage shows the suspects allegedly fleeing deputies during a traffic stop on August 6. The 4 occupants of the vehicles complied with deputies' commands and were taken into custody after their car was pit maneuvered and lost control of their wheels. The car then lost control and ended up on the side of the road. Number 27, Houston truck. Sometimes catching a suspect can be pretty hard, especially if they are pro drivers on a road full of traffic. A similar case is that in the video where the Houston police had to catch a fast-moving vehicle on a busy highway. A wild police chase ended in Houston's south side near US 288. Sky Eye followed police as it chased a red truck. The police had a long car chase with the offenders as they kept making turns on a busy road. But as you can see in the video, the tables were turned for the truck driver as he made a sharp turn. His sharp turn gave the police a clear opening to hit the truck from the back. As expected, the slight bump from the police car made the truck driver lose control of the vehicle, and we could see a man jumping on the road. But the truck again drove off by itself. It was later found that there were more people in the car as the truck came to a halt just a little distance from the police cars, and 2 more suspects got out of the vehicle and made a run for their life. Unfortunately, all 3 were caught and charged with reckless driving and speeding on the road. Number 28, stolen Porsche. A case about a Porsche car being stolen at gunpoint was reported to the police officers. The car was reportedly stolen from the buyer's dealership on North Hamilton Road in Whitehall. Soon after the vehicle was stolen, the suspects robbed a bank and were on the run. The police officers around the area recognized the vehicle and started following it. The car chase continued for a long time, as the suspects suddenly pulled into the parking lot of a mall and then turned towards the exit onto I-70 between an interstate and a ramp. The vehicle was driving at high speed and showed no signs of stopping. The police officer then ambushed the car, and the suspects had no choice but to either surrender or run away. Number 29, failed nail mesh. Well, it is not always the case that the police officers are successful in setting up the trap for the suspects. Sometimes their plans can also backfire horribly. In this video, we can see that the police team is waiting for a car chase to come to a halt. The whole team awaited the moment the suspect car would pass by the mesh, and it did happen. The suspect car did pass from it, but the team forgot to timely push the mesh back, resulting in the police car getting damaged on the mesh. The look of disappointment is evident on the faces of the officers, and the guy who didn't pull away the mesh and caused the police car to get damaged sure knows that he has to write a lengthy report about his actions now. But we should never forget that mistakes can happen at times, and we learn better from our mistakes. Well, there you have it, guys. From classic moves to high-tech wizardry, these officers are on a mission to keep our streets safe. So next time you see those red and blues flashing behind you, remember, these guys mean business. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and why not subscribe as well while you are at it. Until next time, stay safe out there.